For broadcasting or advertising opportunities, call 1-888-303-3884 or visit wildfireradio.com and click on Contacts.
Good afternoon and welcome to Cinescape, where we are changing the landscape of movie and television news. With me today is my good friend and partner, Sean Harrigan. How are you today, sir?
I am awesome, Bill. How are you doing today, buddy?
I am doing fantastic. My name is Bill Tozzi, and here we are today on a gloomy Saturday afternoon here in New Jersey. Starting off today, we have a lot of stuff going on for our first show here. We are going to be going over some movies, television, and everything else in between with that. But first, want to just start off by really introducing ourselves and the show. Sean, why don't you really just go over the several months of hard work that that has spawned this process and put us in the seat where we're at right now. So take us back a few months, man.
Right. So it was probably end of May that I had finally decided that I was going to start our blog page. After years of watching YouTube shows and watching the whole blogosphere really explode, the online film critics, with YouTube and everything like that, I felt that there was something that I could do. It doesn't take somebody who's an expert in film punditry and anything like that. Anybody can do it. So, this May that I decided that I was going to get everything going, I created a free website. I got all our social media going, and I just, I hit the ground running. I started just doing my research on stories, finding credible sources, making sure that I was citing everything, and I really started hitting it and putting everything out there on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, just finding that, that niche market to where we were starting to attract readers and viewers and getting them in to keep returning for new stories.
I believe it's niche.
Niche? Yes. Either one.
No, but it's been quite a journey already. I mean, you talk about May and here we are September, and the turnaround and the progression and positivity that's come along with it. It's very abundant. I think it's a wonderful feeling at the same time watching this this little child in a sense grow up, and we've following the page for several months now. We've had quite the spike in in followers and activity and interactions, and it's seeing that base grow, and now we have the podcast to complement all that and get a different avenue of entertainment and information. So I think this is exciting. I can't wait till this gets out there and we have more people that are following us and a another forum to interact with our fans. So with that being said, let's jump right into this. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Let's deter for a quick moment since we just did a little James Hetfield. I know we're movie and television, but Metallica has rooted itself in the entertainment industry. And what do you think about the the new single and where Metallica's going to be in a year with this whole process?
I'm digging the instrumentals on it. It sounds like they're going back to Kill 'Em All, 83. It's thrash, it's hard, it's fun, it's fast. But I just can't get over the lyrics and the way that James is
cursing and
delivering.
stuff.
He doesn't need to drop F-bombs every now and then.
Yeah.
You know, it's not what Metallica was rooted on. You can still have hard music and not have to be, you know, vulgar or profane with it. And it just doesn't fit their MO. And, you know, it's really taken me out of enjoying anything, you know, that they're putting out now and in the future. But, yeah, obviously going to open up my mind a little bit and go with it. I mean, if I could buy the Saint Anger album, I can, you know, keep going with this new stuff. So.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I mean, the song, it's you know, a little bit of a reach, you know, with trying to get everybody's attention. It did grab a lot of you know positive attention, and I mean, I think you know, Metallica fans are, you know, just excited to have, you know, a new album for the first time in, what has it been, 8 years now?
Yeah, Death Magnetic came out in 08, right?
08, yeah, because I remember seeing them in 09 on that tour.
And then they had that little 4-song EP that came out in maybe 2010.
Right, that was a follow-up to that.
That was our last new music from them.
Well, I mean, if you count the experiment with Lou Reed.
Let's not.
Yeah. But the single, you know, definitely puts you in your seat and kicks your ass a little bit.
It is nice to see that, you know, as they're getting older, they still have it. They can still rock out.
Yeah, absolutely. They're actually playing a benefit show in Central Park, New York, in like 3 weeks.
Okay.
September 24th. I was looking at the lineup. There's a lot of bands on the dais there. I think Rihanna's on there with Pearl Jam, and Hugh Jackman is one of the hosts. So, you know, Wolverine is going to be you know, slashing up New York like he usually does.
One of the last chances you get to see him.
Yeah. We'll have to, you know, touch upon that at some point because you know, I really think Hugh Jackman, you know, obviously he was the X-Men franchise.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and you know, I can understand the, you know, having to pass the torch at some point. You know, you can only, you know,
he can only keep himself in shape for so long.
Yeah,
he's getting up there. He's in his 50s.
Yeah, he's in his 50s, and I mean the, you know, body doesn't recover like it used to, and
he has to spend all his time working out and eating right.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a full-time job in itself. So, would I like to see him continue to play Wolverine for another 10 years? Absolutely.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
But, you know, the reality of things is that all good things must come to an end at some point.
Maybe he'll stop and then take a 10-year break and come back and do Old Man Logan the right way.
I mean, you know, we've seen some on-the-set photos. You can only speculate right now, but I think, you know, hopefully they get that character right and, you know, do a fond farewell and a solid send-off with that.
And hopefully it's better than the other two Wolverine side movies that we've gotten. I have not enjoyed really either.
Well, how would you score you know, the Wolverine franchise, you know?
The standalone movies by himself, not very highly. I mean, X-Men Origins was just a dreadful movie. It was all over the place. You know, they bastardized Deadpool. They just changed continuity left and right. You know, it's par for the course with Fox with the way that they do things. But you have a young a young Scott Summers here, an older one there. You know, you keep having these recycled characters, different ages, different time periods, and it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I don't think they're really making much sense of anything over there.
Continuity, schmontinuity.
Yeah. I mean, the people in charge just, you know, obviously it's like somebody finding a new job every year, and these X-Men might as well be working at a Burger King, you know, because they just don't have it year after year. There's no sense of direction. But let's jump back into our TV Buzz segment. There's been a lot of stuff in the TV world coming out over the past week. We'll try and, you know, jump on as much as we can here with that. But TV Buzz, let's highlight some of the big news stories, and we'll review some episodes and open some discussion in there in between. So let's start off with Arrow. This is a show that's been going on for a few seasons, and you know, we have some big news coming out of the Arrow world. That's right, if you have not guessed it already or heard somewhere else, that Ivan Drago himself, not actual Ivan Drago, but Dolph Lundgren is set to appear. And Sean, you got a little bit more info on that. Give me the lowdown on Dolph.
I must break you. Yeah.
If he does.
News came out from Entertainment Weekly that he will be appearing on season 5. It's going into season 5 already.
Wow,
as a Russian villain. There's going to be there's a lot of flashbacks over the last couple of seasons of his Oliver's time in Russia, so we're going to get to see that this season. Dolph Lundgren's character is described by the Television Critics Association's press tour. Our flashbacks in Russia, or set in Russia this season, we are going to be bringing Dolph Lundgren as one of our big bads. He is somebody we heard about in season 4, and his character's name will be Kovar. Kovar, we are going to bring him in, and he's not going to be a super badass guy who works for the Russian government and is not a friend of Oliver or the Bratva. It's part of Oliver's promise to Tatiana at the end of season 4, and it's going to be interesting because it's going to get complicated and very messed up very fast. So we'll be looking for him this season.
Awesome. I think he's a always a fun actor to see, and especially I think over the past few years we've been seeing him really insert himself into these roles that you probably wouldn't have seen him in 10, 15 years ago.
Or maybe didn't want to see him in.
Yeah. Well, I don't think anybody wanted to see him in Kindergarten Cop 2, right?
No, I certainly didn't.
Straight to video. If anybody wasn't aware that there was a Kindergarten Cop 2 and that Dolph Lundgren was in it, try and find it. I'm sure it's probably free on the internet somewhere.
I haven't seen it, but I don't think he is Detective John Kimball.
Definitely not. Let's move on to The Flash. Once again, The Flash, another show that crosses over, and there's some more news coming out of that season. Sean, break it down.
Yeah, a lot of this information is coming out of this year's San Diego Comic-Con. I extensively covered that and tried to keep the readers up to date as things were being introduced. So a lot of these DC CW shows that I watch regularly, and there's a lot of stuff that came out about them. First bit of news is that comicbook.com is reporting that actress Joey King from Fargo has joined the cast of Season 3 as the new villain Magenta. The character description from Comic Book Resources for her reads, Magenta, a.k.a. Frances Frankie Kane, was an ex-girlfriend of Wally West, who gained the ability to control metal at the cost of becoming completely mentally unstable, thus birthing the Magenta Guys. Magenta will be debuting in Season 3, Episode 3. Also coming out about another villain from Comic Book Resources is that the villain Mirror Master has been cast in Season 3. The actor Gray Damon, I'm not familiar with his work, but actor Gray Damon has been cast as Sam Scudder, a.k.a. Mirror Master, and a quick bio of his character reads, one of the Flash's most infamous rogues, Sam Scudder, a.k.a. Mirror Master, is a smooth criminal with a huge ego. Upon discovering that he now has the power to travel through any reflective surface, Scudder embarks on a massive crime spree to prove himself that he is the greatest thief that Central City has ever seen. A couple more bits here. Vampire Diaries actress Susan Walters has been cast as Caitlin Snow's mother, Dr. Carla Tannhauser, during Season 3 as well. Entertainment Weekly broke that news saying, Dr. Carla Tannhauser is a world-class biomedical engineer and CEO of a major research company. But while Caitlin may have inherited her mother's formidable scientific mind, the two have long had a difficult relationship, with Caitlin finding her mother cold and withholding, and Carla regarding her daughter as rebellious and ungrateful. And the last bit of news to come out of that is that actor Keenan Lonsdale, who portrays Wally West, the new Kid Flash during Season 3, has been officially confirmed as Kid Flash. We've seen all these new promo art pieces come up, new posters, new trailers. He looks really good. His suit is pretty cool. So we will be getting another speedster during Season 3 of The Flash. Going to throw it back to you, Bill. We're going to stick with these DC CW shows. We have Legends of Tomorrow. Bill, you have a couple things on that?
Yeah, Legends of Tomorrow. There actually is going to be a new character. Stargirl has officially been casted for Season 2. Actress Sarah Gray, who's actually going to be in the new Power Rangers movie.
New Power Rangers. Very excited.
Very excited for that one. She is going to be filling the role, according to IGN. Gray will have a reoccurring role as a member of the Justice Society of America.
Ah, yes. Big cliffhanger from Season 1, JSA.
It's going to be huge.
Huge.
Going to be phenomenal. Also, actor Nick Zano has been cast in the Season 2 of Legends of Tomorrow as Dr. Nate Haywood, also known as Citizen Steel. He's the grandson of Henry Haywood, Commander Steel. That's reported from Screen Rant. Also announced is actor Matthew McCall's casting of Henry Haywood, Commander Steel.
Lots of steel in there.
Lots of steel. Maybe Shaquille O'Neal will show up as his character Steel from that
Steel triumvirate here.
Yeah.
I like it.
We'll have to, I think we might have to pull up Rotten Tomatoes and see how Steel is rated. Just curious. But a lot of news came out of San Diego Comic-Con this year regarding Season 2 of Legends of Tomorrow, including a new character in Horman.
Our man.
Oh, I'm sorry. My
that's quite a different show.
Horman. Rated R.
I think that's on Cinemax.
Yeah. I'm sorry. My font here and my old eyes. You know about my old eyes.
Yes, we had this discussion in the car.
Yeah, I had to, change the font on my phone so I could start seeing the words a little bit better.
30s aren't fun for us.
They are on a gradual decline. But back into the news real quick. So the new character, Our Man, Obsidian, Stargirl, and Dr. Midnight are part of the Justice Society of America. That's brought to us by Variety. Also announced were the villains dubbed the Legion of Doom.
Yeah, a new incarnation of the Legion of Doom.
The LOD. That includes Damien Dark, Malcolm Merlyn, Captain Cold, and the Reverse Flash. Arrow star Stephen Amell will guest star in the premiere episode, according to The Hollywood Reporter, as well as Jonah Hex.
Yeah, so we're getting a lot of crossover from all the CW shows in terms of their villains. We saw Damien Dark last season in Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Cold is a series regular on both Legends and Flash. Malcolm Merlyn, he's another Arrow baddie. And then Reverse Flash, obviously, from Season 2 of The Flash. So we're getting to get all these guys together and really throw a cog into the mix to the Legends here. So heading into Season 2.
And I mean, DC, as far as the television show, seems to be having a fair amount of success with the crossovers and stuff like that. What in your opinion, what do you think it is that's working well for them as far as their crossover process?
I think it's what the DC Extended Universe, in terms of movies, is doing the exact opposite of, and it's not really having fun with their characters. If you watch any of the DC shows on the CW, they're very lighthearted. They're a lot of fun. They don't take themselves too seriously, but they're not overly. I mean, you get an episode of The Flash or something here and there where it's, it's really campy, but it doesn't, it doesn't take itself too seriously. It doesn't put too much of a dark spin or a tone on everything. Right. And, this season, they incorporated Supergirl now. They got that over from CBS. The start of all 4 shows this season, they're doing a 4-night crossover between all 4 shows. Yeah. And it just really goes to show you that, you can have this interconnected TV universe, even with 4 different shows, Right. Borrowing characters, having different storylines that kind of cross each other, and you can still do a really good job of it. And I really do think that's where the movies are lacking. They're just not cohesive. They're not fun. And we're going to talk more about the DC universe later on in the show, so we won't get too much into that now. But
yeah, because I do want to go back to the movies, because I think, like to your point, the TV shows are having success, and there seems to be a little bit of a disconnect with the formula, and the way that Marvel handles their creative process. I don't think we can really say a bad thing about their process.
No, it works.
Yeah, it works, and it makes money, and that's the whole point, is to make money. Which brings us to our next topic.
All right, so we're going to switch gears from DC to Marvel in terms of the TV world. A lot of this information came out at Comic-Con this year. We're going to focus first on the Marvel Netflix shows. So we've already had 2 seasons of Daredevil. We've seen a season of Jessica Jones. And just a couple weeks, we're getting season 1 of Luke Cage. And
I'm excited for that.
Oh, yeah.
I think
everything that's come out, that looks phenomenal.
It looks so much different than, the Marvel TV shows that we've been used to seeing. And, I think Marvel is great with delivering, the brand of each, character and each series and stuff like that. And I feel like this one is a lot different than, what's been out there. I think it's similar in the regards that, obviously, yes, it's, going to be in Hell's Kitchen and stuff like that. And, going to be in that little cluster of characters. But, I think this is just a different character, one that, the general audience isn't probably too familiar with. So I think it's going to definitely be a great opportunity to bring in, a lot of new fans and attract them. And even for, existing Marvel fans that just might not have been, too keen to the character in the past.
Right. I think Netflix is doing a really good job of setting up their characters, because we got to see Luke Cage during season 1 of Jessica Jones. And,
yeah.
We've seen his relationship with her and, kind of what he's all about. And then when we got that first teaser trailer for season 1, you got Wu-Tang music going on.
Yeah, I mean, I love,
He's getting shot up by gangsters and just kicking ass and taking names. It's definitely a lot different from anything they've done, and I love how they're not afraid to take chances on these characters and, kind of do something, against the grain from what we've seen. Yeah,
I mean, it's grittier. I think the perfection in the the whole Daredevil universe, I guess you could call it, is the yes, they're a lower tier.
They're street level.
Right, they're street level. Excuse me. But it's the fact that, these street level characters, Marvel is really delivering on the human side of these characters.
Yeah, they're more grounded in reality.
Yeah, and I think that's why it proves to be a great series, all around, is that, you're watching, these superheroes or these attempts to be superheroes, and you're caught up with, the real life issues that this person is dealing with. And I think that's why those Netflix series are becoming successful, is because you're watching like a drama unfold in front of you, and they have a little bit of like that Law and Order type of suspense, a little bit. It has a story. It has
like Jessica Jones as a crime procedural, and like I was saying, how they're not afraid to take chances.
Right,
Jessica Jones, she suffered from PTSD from being a rape victim.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to see that on many superhero-type shows on network television. So Netflix is such a good home for, what Marvel is doing with these characters, to where you can take those kind of chances and have that grittier, darker tones to them.
And that's what makes it that much more believable, because, let's face it,
it's not all black and white.
Right. I mean, and let's face it, there's only so much of just superheroing that you can, take. You don't want to see that perfection all the time. You want
to see your heroes be less heroic.
You want to see them be beaten down, you know what I mean?
You want to see them be more relatable.
Yeah, and I think that, as we reiterated, that's what Netflix and Marvel are doing a really great job at is building these low-level characters that, wouldn't have been given a shot 10, 15 years ago.
And ones that you're not going to see on the big screen as
right.
well. You're not going to see an Iron Fist. You're not going to see Luke Cage.
Yeah.
We've seen Daredevil when Ben Affleck did it.
Yeah.
Whether you liked it or not, they tried it. It didn't really work out too well. So, this kind of format is perfectly suited for what the overall MCU Netflix verse is really all about. Just a couple of stories that did come out of Comic-Con. We know that, the MCU, they have the Avengers team-ups where everybody comes together. Well, we're also getting a Defenders team-up. You're going to see Luke Cage, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist next year come together. So we did get a quick little teaser trailer for that at Comic-Con. We also got a quick teaser for Season 3 of Daredevil. It does not have a release date yet, but it most likely will air in 2018. We got new posters for Iron Fist, as well as confirmation that Rosario Dawson, who plays Claire Temple in all of the series, will make an appearance during that, reprising her role. And we got a nice little teaser for Iron Fist as well. We have an actor from Game of Thrones playing the iconic Danny Rand. And just over the last couple of weeks, we've gotten a couple new teaser spots for Luke Cage. We can see him getting shot up with machine guns and kind of just taking it because he's got iron skin, so you're not really going to penetrate that. So a lot of cool, exciting things coming from Marvel Netflix. I can't wait for Luke Cage. Iron Fist comes out early next year. Bill, have you caught up on Daredevil?
I have not.
You have not. Season 1? Are you still on Season 1?
I'm still on Season 1.
You gotta get
it. I went in hard, man. I went in hard with Daredevil, and then I couldn't keep up. So I do have to. It's
Marvel
to binge.
overload a little bit there.
Yeah,
so much stuff coming out.
Right. But yeah, I have to get back on the Daredevil bandwagon there and catch up on what it's all about.
Yeah, just wait till you get to Season 2 with the Punisher. It's phenomenal.
That's what I'm hearing. But Punisher's going to be pushed back to 2017 now.
Yeah, I think because we are going to get it probably later on in 2017, if not 2018. They are going to give him his own solo season, probably phase 2, if you can call it, of the Netflix universe. So it'll be really interesting, not only for Punisher himself, but to be bringing in other characters that, like we were saying, you're not going to see on the big screen. You're not going to see a Moon Knight movie. Right. Another topic that we have to talk about in just a minute. I was going to say you're probably not going to see Ghost Rider anytime soon, but let's transition into that because we did get confirmation from Season 4 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that the character of Ghost Rider will be making an appearance in the new season. However, he will not be the classic character as portrayed by Nick Cage, but he will be indeed played by a actor named Gabriel Luna, because this one will be the Robbie Reyes version. In the comics, he sports a muscle car instead of the classic motorcycle. But
which we saw at Comic-Con.
Yes, we did.
They showed the vehicle.
They had the car there. We got a tiny little teaser, just the skull popping up in fire. So it'll be really interesting to see how they bring him along on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because that's not as suited. That would be more of like a Netflix universe.
Maybe they'll take his face off. His face off.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
But another note, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is switching time spots this year on ABC. It's moving to 10 o'clock from its 9 o'clock original spot, giving them a little bit more leeway to, have kind of those darker tones. Later on at night you get with your TV, you can drop more language, you can have more, suggestive scenes.
Right.
Don't want to call it nudity per se, but, more scantily clad people, so it'll be really
nudes.
Yeah, and ABC's not going to show the nudes, but it'll definitely be interesting to see how they do Daredevil on a network television show like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Absolutely. You ready for this next show to talk about?
What do you got for me?
I'm really excited for this because it's a show that has been on the air for quite some time.
Is it The Simpsons?
It's not The Simpsons.
Is it South Park? They got their 20th anniversary coming up.
Yeah, I saw that. It's not South Park.
Okay, what do you got?
No, it's another comedy. It's a dark comedy, I guess you could say at times.
Okay.
And it's been on the October 15th will mark its 16th year on the air.
Now, is that years or seasons?
Well, it started in 2000.
Okay.
Total number of seasons, though, we have, this will be its 10th season.
I think I know where you're going here.
You think you know where I'm going
I
here?
have an idea.
He's got an idea. It's going to be a big idea.
A pretty big one.
Pretty big. It's a big idea. Big. Can you guess it?
I think we got Curb, Bill.
We got Curb.
All right.
Curb Your Enthusiasm is coming back again.
Thankfully.
For another cringeworthy season. I say cringeworthy because this guy, Larry David, he's a social assassin. You know what I mean?
Is.
He gets out there and he puts himself in situations, and it just gives you anxiety sometimes.
It really does.
Especially
because he's going to say something to stick his foot in his mouth, and you're just waiting, and sure enough, it's going to come.
And a lot of times it's situations where you want to be saying that, and you're afraid to, or you don't want to be the person, you don't want to be a social assassin and do that. But I'm excited because this show always delivers, and it's it picks up where Seinfeld left off back in the 90s. No relation, of course, but obviously it's just that writing style and those same social scenarios that you want to get into. And so earlier this year, Larry David announced that the much anticipated did I say season 10?
I think you did.
My notes say 9 here. I have to double check that. I'm pretty sure he's I'm pretty sure it was 10th season. I thought they did a 9th. However, he announced that Curb would be premiering in the near future. HBO president Casey Bloys recently updated the status of the premiere date as a press panel for the TCA tour, saying, "I think possibly this fall and will air sometime in 2017. That could slide, but he's definitely gearing up for it. I would imagine my hope is most of the cast will return, but we don't have any of those details worked out yet." While the statement from Bloys doesn't guarantee a specific date at this time, it is still encouraging to fans of the show that has desperately been waiting for a new season. Cast member Cheryl Hines, who played Larry's wife on the show, spoke on her involvement in the upcoming season, saying, "As far as I know, I'm involved. I don't know what the season is about or if I'm involved, but I texted Larry and he said if I'm not too busy, he wants me to be in it. So that's all I know."
That sounds like a very Larry thing to say.
I mean,
if you're not busy, come on down.
But, I think it's going to happen. Larry that creative genius that he is.
You can't force it.
Can't force it, and I mean that's the show in a nutshell. I mean, if you're familiar with the show, you've seen outtakes, you've see them talk about the show, on talk shows or on the internet. That most of the show, even though it's there's a script involved, a lot of what they do is on the spot. So I mean, Larry, will walk in and say, this is what we're, shooting today. But most of it is improv. And, a lot of the antics that make these episodes so funny are because of what these characters just show up and deliver.
Absolutely. And that's the great part of, having so many different comics on there, too.
Oh, yeah.
People, rooted in stand-up, like, guys like Richard Lewis, they can easily improv here and there where they need to. And that, that just adds that extra dynamic to the show that makes it so fun.
Yeah. What would you say, who's your favorite character on that show?
Ooh. I mean, I do love Jeff. I love Jeff.
Jeff's just a blithering idiot that, really... always is a constant disappointment to his wife.
But I mean, when the Funk Man comes in, the Funk Man is there, and he just has such an air about him that is so off-putting and awkward at the same time that it just really makes for really fun, dry moments. When you're getting the Larry shtick, but
right.
When Marty comes in, he really turns the tone around, and it kind of just makes it awkward but fun at the same time.
Yeah, and I mean that's a character. I mean, if you think back to our childhood, and remember Super Dave.
Super Dave.
Yeah, you don't remember that? Dave. He played the the stunt man, like the Daredevil guy. He had the motocross bike and stuff like that. It was a TV show. And just imagine, Funkhauser, dressed up in the, like a red, white, and blue jumpsuit. Evel Knievel. You'll have to jump online and check that out. It was something that it was like a Saturday morning cartoon type deal. It wasn't a cartoon, but it was in that lineup of TV shows back in the day. And, that's a nice little throwback reference for you there. But let's start rounding out the TV buzz. We also got some big news out of San Diego Comic-Con as it was revealed during the Bates Motel panel that singer Rihanna has joined the cast during Season 5. Variety is reporting that Rihanna will play the role of Marion Crane.
I guess she's not going to last too long.
Also, The Wrap is reporting that the series will end after Season 5.
Yeah, sad news.
Sad and tragic. A&E would also announce the news via Twitter as well. So, now you follow Bates Motel pretty closely, right?
Yeah, we're all caught up on that one.
Anything you could see as to maybe why the show has ended, or...
I think they want to stop before they get to full Norman Psycho. I think they wanted to do the prequel kind of thing. His coming into what he would eventually become in terms of becoming a psycho killer.
Right.
So
qu'est-ce que c'est?
So I mean the Marion Crane thing that's probably how the series will end. That famous shower scene. That's my take on that. Yeah, they're going to stop before they go any further with that. I actually didn't really see that coming until they announced that. I thought they would go on a little bit further with that since it does so well. Mm-hmm. But that's the mark of a good show when they know when to stop things and not drag it on and make it not so fun to keep tuning into every week and every season.
Right.
So you got to commend them a little bit for that.
Absolutely. And just a side note, I don't know if you knew this, but apparently Rihanna is dating Drake.
Oh.
They have been photographed several times over the past week, smooching
Now, I heard there was a little kerfuffle at the VMAs. She kind of dissed him a little bit.
Really?
And I have a 15-year-old stepdaughter, so she knows these things.
So she's keeping you in the know.
She kind of dissed him a little bit.
I mean, that could have been that could have been a stunt. I mean, the VMAs are that forum for just doing antics to get attention and stuff like that. So it could have been something to throw people off a little bit. However, it'd be interesting to see how that relationship turns out. I mean, I think they're both I could see that working out, I guess, because they as much as Drake is in the spotlight of things, he seems to also kind of fly under the radar a little bit. Rihanna, I mean, she's a lot more vocal on like Instagram and stuff like that. She if you want to follow her for her just laying around in a bikini smoking some weed, that's the person to follow on there, which isn't a bad thing. Sometimes you want to wake up to seeing Rihanna in a little skimpy bikini laying on the beach and
why not?
rolling up a little jib, you know what I mean? But let's get back to our reviews real quick. We got a couple shows that we wrapped up and watched. Let's start off with Stranger Things, shall we?
Please, let's do.
This has been a phenomenal show. Everyone can't stop talking about this show right now. We just got word that season 2 has been confirmed and set up for next year. And
they announced there's going to be 3 new characters coming to it, too.
3 new characters. But this show just, real quick, it really just grabbed us. And, I think for a lot of people, our age, this movie, or not movie, this TV show.
It felt like
a movie, right? I mean, because the cues that they took in this show, definitely it took a lot of nostalgic, a lot of movies that we grew up with, and I think the cool part was that you watch this show, and I mean, did you binge it like I did? We just I think it was a Sunday afternoon,
in a night or two.
Yeah,
maybe 3 times.
Yeah, we did it in a day. I know it was a Sunday, late morning, early afternoon, and we wrapped it up by the early evening. But you watch the show, and the nostalgia. I really have to say it's the nostalgia that really had that charm to the show. You know what I mean? And the kids that were in it.
They were the best part of the show.
It was great.
Those 4 kids,
hands down, and the kids. You put kids in shows a lot of times, and especially when they're meant to be the main characters, and you can sometimes see that pressure maybe warp them a little bit and warp the characters and stuff like that. But you could sense the natural ability for these kids, and you could see that charisma that they brought.
They absolutely had the chemistry together.
Yeah.
I mean, it made me feel like I was sitting in that basement playing Dungeons and Dragons with them, you know what I mean? Just from the opening song, it grabbed you right away. It took you into that world. It made you feel like you were living in 1983 again. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just so spot on, not only just in terms of nostalgia, but the way that it all came across. Like it wasn't phony, it wasn't forced, it wasn't fake. It was just a true depiction on the time period and the way of life, and from the music to the costumes, from just all the references. It was just so well done.
Yeah.
And the cast just gelled so well together, and it took so many cues and nods from different 80s things. I think like when I had reviewed on the website,
right,
our page, I said it felt like a John Carpenter, soundtrack to a Stephen King novel turned into a movie with different cues from E.T. and things like that. There's just so many things just rolled up into one ball that it was so much fun, and I really had a great time watching it. Yeah,
me too. I'm definitely looking forward to the next season. I really, those same cues that you were talking about, I'm now I'm like on the edge of my seat as far as what season 2 is going to bring. Just because when you get all these flashbacks to these movies, because you're sitting there and you're watching this TV show and subconsciously you're like, why does that remind me of E.T.? And it's because it's a direct homage to the movie, and you're like,
they're riding on that bike, and Eleven flips that truck over.
So the that nostalgia that we talked about. I'm looking forward to see how they continue that into the second season.
All right, we are going to flip the script here and get into our new segment, aptly named "Flipping the Script." We're going to start to focus on all things movie related, and the unfortunate first bit of news that we have to talk about is the passing of Gene Wilder earlier this week. Tough one, a tough year for celebrities and actors in general. We've lost so many actors, musicians, and Gene Wilder's passing earlier this week, just added to that lengthy list. Bill, if you had to pick out a couple of your favorite Gene Wilder films, what would you say? We know we have Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka, is obviously up there. I think
Young Frankenstein.
Young Frankenstein would probably be my my top pick for comedies. I mean, there's several comedies, and I'm not gonna lie, a lot of his stuff was came out in the 70s. I wasn't even born yet, so my catch-up period, I feel like Young Frankenstein came out in the 80s, and that was a movie that as I was young growing up, that one kind of got a little bit more airplay. So that was one that I had I had seen a lot, and just the brand of his humor was just it was so distinct, and it was so much different than,
and it was very intense.
It was.
You take a look at his wide range in like a Willy Wonka. He can be funny, he can be charming, but then he could take it to that really dark level when they're going through that tunnel on the little boat. He's
Wonka!
frightening.
Oh my God,
he's terrifying.
That scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. I mean, you're watching this movie, and he's
a madman.
He's a madman. He gets everybody on this little boat, and it's one of those boats that had the big old paddle wheel in the back of it, and it's
like a riverboat.
Yeah, an old riverboat, and everybody's crammed on there, and just that intensity. I mean, I can't imagine being one of the child actors being on that boat during that scene, and here's this guy that he's got this bizarre hair, he's got this big top hat on, and he's got Oompa Loompas, for Christ's sakes, and he's having this acid trip of a boat ride with these kids. And I mean, being a kid myself at that point, watching this movie, and the the intensity, really, it was frightening. And I think even more in that scene was the pictures that they were showing. I don't know if you remember the actual boat ride. I mean, I remember it because it scared the piss out of me. But there was pictures of cockroaches and stuff and maggots eating some kind of I think it was a carcass or something of some sort. And then Slugworth pops up, and he's all just has that ominous effect over the scene and stuff like that. And it was just it was so nutty. And I mean, to have that one scene and have so much bearing over children at that time, it speaks volumes. But I mean, he definitely had a body of work. A lot of stuff with Mel Brooks. A lot of
Broadway stuff.
A lot of Broadway.
Producers.
Yeah. He was always eccentric in that manner, and he did movies that, just they varied, but he always did movies that had a little something different about them, and the
kind of suited his quirkiness.
Yeah, and I think the fact that he delivered himself, he delivered his brand, and I think that's why you didn't really see him in a whole lot of mainstream stuff, is because he knew what he was all about in his brand, and I think that's why you're saddened when somebody like him passes away, because it was real. It was him in those movies. It's not like he was playing this character. Like, no, that's his zaniness, you know what I mean? And it was always true to himself.
Right. We are starting to run a little low on time. I have a bunch of movie news topics that we need to get through so we can have our DC discussion. I'm just going to kind of rapid fire them out right here. Fox's New Mutant movie that is in development, according to the Hollywood Reporter, has named their team. Some of the team members will be a Native American named Danielle Moonstar, a Scots girl named Wolfsbane, Brazilian ladies man Sunspot, a Kentuckian codenamed Cannonball, and a Russian teen named Magic. Also in the mix will be an alien named Warlock. So we're going to get a New Mutants, a kind of a younger spin on the X-Men, a different team. We kind of got to see that in Age of Apocalypse, the younger team. So they're going to continue on with that, try to get some new X genes in there, I guess you can say.
X genes. Xgasm.
A lot of Spider-Man Homecoming news. It seemed for a couple weeks you couldn't go a day without hearing somebody new being cast, whether it was Marissa Tomei or Donald Glover. There's just so many cast members in this movie. Earlier this week, though, we got news that Jon Favreau is returning as Happy Hogan. We will have Robert Downey Jr. in this film. Happy's his head of security, so he will also make an appearance, which is nice to see. God love Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
And we got some confirmation on Spider-Man's villains.
Spider-Man!
We know that Orange is the New Black actor Michael Chernus has been cast as the villain, the Tinkerer. He's going to be a disgruntled employee. I'm pretty sure he's an ex-Stark employee who is now making tech for some of the new villains coming out. He's described as an evil scientist and an evil scientist and inventor who is known for creating technology for many of Spider-Man's foes over the years, including Mysterio, Scorpion, Black Cat, Hobgoblin, and the main villain of this film, the Vulture, which will be played by Michael Keaton.
I'm excited for that.
Yes.
I love Michael
Birdman
Keaton.
to the Vulture. I think it's a pretty lateral move, but a good one, just because the type of actor Michael Keaton is.
He's going to anchor that level of the movie, because a newcomer coming on, you gotta be able to have that foundation there. So
some DC film news also out of Comic-Con. We got the confirmation that the villain of the Aquaman movie, played by Jason Momoa in the lead character's role, will be the Black Manta, but we did not get any confirmation of who will be portraying him. And for the Flash movie, the character of Iris West, who is also in the TV show, has been cast to be played by actress Kiersey Clemons. So we'll see a big screen version of Iris West, as well as one that we've been seeing for the past couple of seasons on The Flash on the CW. Bill, I know you are not a Pokemon Go player.
I am
correct?
Not. No.
Well, even if that's true, Variety reported that Legendary Studios won a bidding war to secure film rights to a Pokemon movie, currently titled Detective Pikachu, which is preparing for production in the beginning part of 2017, and Universal will be distributing the film outside of Japan. Bill, what do you think about a Pokemon movie, quickly?
I guess it's great for, the people that play it. It seems to be like, Pokemon never went away, but with the game and stuff like that, and everybody.
You would think that was a no-brainer that somebody was going to get right on that right away.
Right. So I mean, it's.
I think I saw that it crossed the $400 million mark
Wow.
earlier this week in terms of downloads and buys on the store with it.
Yeah, I mean it's a huge trend right now,
Absolutely.
and everybody
It's kind of dying down though. I feel.
Yeah, I mean,
You had that couple week buzz, and then
it's very repetitive. You know, I mean, there's only so much you can just sit there and keep swiping and staring at your phone and going to parks and stuff like that. It doesn't advance you in life in any way. So it's naturally now that the buzz is there, a movie makes sense.
Okay, and our final topic on flipping the script, we are getting another installment of the Saw film franchise.
Yes.
With a Lionsgate release date of October 27th, 2017. Directors Michael and Peter Spearberg are attached to helm the 8th entry into the series. Bill, what do you think quickly about the Saw franchise?
It's been a very long, enduring franchise. Had some ups and downs, obviously with that many movies,
I don't think I saw past like 3 or 4.
Yeah. I mean, they all kind of blend after a while and stuff like that, but, it's definitely been a franchise that has delivered with the gore and the bloodiness and stuff like that. So, I'm just, I'm excited for another installment. I'll go and check it out, see what it's all about. But
take a couple years off, maybe come back with a fresh take on everything. Could be a good.
See what they got,
All right, so we are going to get into our final segment today. This is going to be one of our special segments. We're going to rotate our special segments around every show, and the first one that we are going to be doing today is called What's the Deal With?
What's the deal?
So we are going to be asking, what's the deal with the DC Extended Universe, as promised earlier in the show? So starting in 2012 with Man of Steel, we've gotten that, we've gotten BVS, and earlier this year we've also gotten Suicide Squad. Bill, I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Yes.
We're in the theater for Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
I turn over because I hear some heavy breathing.
Yeah.
Some snoring.
Mm-hmm.
One of the sounds was coming from my fiance.
Uh-huh.
The other one was coming from you, sir.
Yeah.
Bill, you fell asleep in this movie.
I did fall asleep.
What happened?
I was fatigued. I'll be honest. I had worked that day, and then really had no downtime in between the.
And it
the
was
movie.
like a 9:00 show.
It was a 9:00 show. It's not that's my bedtime or anything like that. But the movie started watching it and stuff like that, and we talk about that cohesiveness, and with the DC movies, there's a lack of cohesiveness, and for me, I just wasn't following it, and the fatigue was catching up with me, and eyes were getting heavy, and it just the movie didn't fend for my attention, and that's why I decided to
take a little
indulge in the nap.
I think if the movie actually had more of a story flow to it, to where you could kind of keep up with what was going on, that you might have stayed awake.
Yeah,
it felt like you had the harsh introductions. They were kind of just thrown in there, music video style, with Killer Croc and Harley and all of them, and then it kind of just went from Act 1 into the end of the movie. It was one just long act, and there was no real middle ground. There was no character development. There was just nothing to really envelop you in the story.
Right.
It just got to the end with that awful villain at the end. It was just so terrible. I think I rated it a 4 out of 10 in my review. I just did not enjoy really anything about the movie. I didn't like Jared Leto's portrayal of the Joker. I know they left a lot of his scenes on the cutting room floor, but it just didn't do it for me. It didn't hit me the way that I wanted it to.
Right.
I was excited.
Yeah,
You're
I think
seeing
everybody
these
was.
promo materials for the better part of a year. Of course you're going to be excited.
Very well marketed.
But was it over marketed? I mean, you're getting the way that movies are getting marketed.
I guess you could say that.
3 or 4 domestic trailers. You're getting 2 international trailers. You're getting 10 TV spots, different promos, Do you think the marketing for movies today is kind of overkill?
I mean, definitely. I mean, depends on the movie and stuff like that. I mean, obviously, when you have tentpole movies such as that, where this movie is supposed to clean up for the summer, and like you were saying, all those allotment of promotional advertisements, and it's like you get that first trailer, 10 months before the movie comes out, and then it's you get all these variations of the trailer, a couple months, and then when you're a month out from the movie, you get these you get these extended clips and all this stuff, and it's meant to give you a more concise
push,
but sometimes you feel like you've already seen the movie before you even gone and seen it, and you get in there and you have this frame of reference as to what you think the movie is in your own head, and then you get in there and you're totally mind fucked, and then you get the final product, and it's like looking at a good meal, in the menu, you're like, the picture looks great, then it comes to the table and it smells great, it looks just as good, but then you eat it and it's it's the most bland meal you could have asked for.
You can put makeup on a pig, but it's not gonna be a pig.
And I mean, when you're talking about the promoting and stuff like that, just to flip the script real quick, you look at Star Trek Beyond, and that was a movie that it had adequate promoting. I don't think it was over promoted or anything like that, but in terms of box office sales, it was an underperformer. It wasn't a bomb or anything like that, but
you think that Sabotage song had anything to do with it in the trailer?
That's a that's a J.J. Abrams thing. I think the song itself, say what you will, but I think the Star Trek franchise, has certain things that make it that franchise, and I feel like that song has integrated itself as to being part of that franchise, that new franchise now. So I wasn't too mad about it. It had some some humor to the fact of it, but I think that where that movie, because Beyond came out like 2 weeks before Suicide Squad, or a week before, and I think Suicide Squad was trying to steal that thunder there from Beyond, and it did for the first week, but that fizzled out too. And you talk about two movies from two different franchises trying to each establish their own in a very tough scheduling month for movies, and that overlap, and really you try to compare the successes of the two, and you look at how each company went about advertising, and both in terms were flops. Yet I feel like though with Beyond though, that got more recognition on the back end of things, because people realized, whether if you were a Star Trek fan or not, that the movie delivered just simplistic value, in the sense that it wasn't over the top with the crazy plot lines of like, we need to jam all these characters in here, all this action, and put all this stuff in here that leaves the follower confused, or maybe disappointed with how something was portrayed. I feel like they took a very simplistic approach with that movie, and I think even though it was a flop in the numbers, it it was a success with the fans. And obviously the Star Trek fan base is very, very vocal. If they like a movie, and it's well known and it's recorded, they're gonna make another movie. Which shortly after after that movie premiered, it had such positive buzz that they were already talking about doing a Star Trek 4 in that timeline. Now going back to Suicide Squad, though, it was a very opportunistic movie. There was a lot that could have been accomplished with it. There was a lot that wasn't accomplished, and I think this is really where Warner Brothers, DC, they faltered, and now they're I feel like they're in a state of confusion.
They're trying to
a
play
little bit.
catch up too much, I think. If you're looking at the MCU, the MCU is 8 years old. It started in 2008 with Iron Man. The knock on DC with starting with Man of Steel was that they needed to catch up to Marvel in terms of getting Justice League together, because we've had 2 Avengers movies since then, and Civil War this year. I think the problem is that they tried to reverse engineer what Marvel has done.
Right.
They tried to bring everybody together off the start and then kind of branch off, and just for the sake of being different. So they're not copying that Marvel formula. And I think that's really hurt them in the long run.
Oh, absolutely.
There is no reason that the third movie in the DC universe should have been Suicide Squad when we don't have any frame of reference for these characters. We haven't seen them yet. We don't know who they are. And with how poorly they were, developed in the movie, I would have liked to have seen a couple in a Batman movie, a couple in a Flash movie, a couple here and there before we got them all together to fight some stupid threat at the end of it.
Yeah.
They're trying to throw everything at us all at once. BVS, the same thing. We're getting all the Justice League characters there. I would have no problem if they would have done the same exact thing that Marvel did. Give us a Batman, give us a Superman, give us a Wonder Woman, then give us Justice League. We know it works. Marvel's done it. They're continuing to do it. It works. So, that's just kind of my 2 cents with it. I want to like these movies. I'm just not. I mean, I liked Man of Steel.
Yeah.
I think
that was
Man of Steel has been my favorite out of any that have come out. The special edition of BVS is certainly much better than the theatrical cut.
Yeah, I fell asleep during that one too in the theaters. But I picked up the Blu-ray with the special edition, and it definitely made it bearable to watch, and it redeemed itself slightly.
Still not a perfect film, but
still not perfect.
It did a lot to kind of fill in those gaps and
Right.
the logic issues, and made it a more cohesive movie.
Yeah.
For the better, I would say. But listen, we are running out of time. In the
So
coming
let's
weeks,
wrap it up.
We will be looking for some social interaction from you guys, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, email. We'll have phone lines set up so you can call in or Skype the show. So do me a favor. If you are listening to this, share this on your social media. Write in some questions. We're going to give you some spots where you can find us at in just a minute. But I wanted to say just thank you for listening to our first show. We will be starting off every other week on Saturdays around this time until we get a little bit under our belts. Then we can switch to an every week format. But, look for that in the next coming weeks. My name is Sean Harrigan. For my buddy Bill Tozzi here, we would just like to say thank you for listening. We hope you continue in the coming weeks. Some places you can find us. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Harrigan's Movie and TV blog. Right now, we are rebranding as Cinescape, as we said in the beginning. Just look out for that, and when we do change all that over, if you can't find it, even we'll have our email address on the show notes and the info, so you can just shoot us a quick email if you need to find us. In the coming weeks, we'll have some sponsors to throw at you guys. Some cool people really helping us out, and we look forward to hearing some feedback from you guys. Bill, do you got anything else for me?
No, not really. I mean, just you pretty much summed it up. Check us out on Facebook. Currently at Harrigan's Movie TV blog. You could also reach out to us individually on Facebook. Bill Tozzi, Sean Harrigan. But just want to thank everyone for tuning in. Check us out. And like Sean said, we're looking forward to interacting with everyone in the coming weeks. But stay tuned. We got a lot of great content coming up, a lot of great guests that we have coming up as well.
Excited. We have some really cool guests coming up in the next few weeks, so stay tuned for that.
And if you are cool in some way, maybe we'll have you on as a guest. But that is us for today. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Be safe, and we will talk to you soon.